Ladies and gentlemen, sound the alarms. If you haven't heard the most recent news regarding the current state of Fortnite in terms of its content and view in the public eye, then this video is about to be a doozy. It's no secret that Fortnite has been in a very weird season of life for the last 6 months or so. Even though I really enjoyed both Season 3 Super and Season 4 Shock and Awesome, everything about the game has just felt kind of off lately. And I promise you it's not just me feeling this way, as the player count of Battle Royale has also been in the toilet recently. And before the Simpsons season dropped, the ranked player count was 10 times worse. No, literally, it was like 100k in normal BR and like 10k or less in ranked, which is insane. Needless to say, these player counts are dangerously low, and while we will discuss how Epic can fix them later in this video, I still haven't talked about the very important news we got recently. A few weeks ago, in what I can only assume to be an act of desperation, it was announced that the CEO of Epic Games, Tim Sweeney, would be meeting with influential names in the Fortnite scene to discuss how the team behind Fortnite can improve the quality of the game and essentially bring it back to life. Now, if this doesn't seem like a big deal to you, well then you're an idiot. Nah, I'm just playing. But it is important that people understand just how much this has the potential to change the game drastically. One of the most important things that game devs and owners can do is listen to the player base and have their decisions for the game's future to be shaped by that feedback. Now obviously the player base of Fortnite consists of a lot of children or young teens whose frontal lobes aren't even halfway developed yet, so their input might not be as useful. What I would argue is even more important than this, however, is taking serious feedback from the content creators or pro players who have dedicated their lives to keeping your game relevant. I mean, think about it. Just based on that fact alone, there's already some sort of relationship of mutual trust between Epic and the faces of Fortnite online. We've seen this even further evidenced by the entirety of the Fortnite Icon Skin series. They recognize just how important these creators were and still are as major contributors to their success. And now, when it seems like Epic just feels at a weird crossroads of ideas or not entirely sure where to take the next step for the future of this game, they're turning to the creators who, honestly, know way more about it than most of the higher-ups probably do. And it's important to realize this, because the reality is that Tim Sweeney just for a fact does not spend 5 hours a day or more playing this game, whether that's grinding zone wars or playing freaking Steel for Brain Rot. But this makes sense, because he's not a developer, he's a CEO, and I'm sure the man has far more going on within his job. So turning to the people who actually do still play the game a ton and who care about its quality and relevance is, in my opinion, the best decision they could have made at the moment. Now, these creator influence changes that we can hopefully expect soon start in the Fortnite competitive scene, which I acknowledge is a place a lot of you may not care about that much. But if you'll just trust me for the rest of this video, I'll explain how this is still beneficial, even for the future of the more casual side of Fortnite. And it all begins with the most influential and well-known pro Fortnite player and content creator, Clix.
Oh my God!
He announced on his stream earlier this week that he would be traveling to meet with Tim Sweeney and discuss all of what he thinks would bring back the competitive scene of Fortnite better than ever, but also what the majority of the player base wants in it too. See, this is part of why this model of player and creator feedback with the CEO directly is such a healthy method of making changes to the game. Clix, someone who has been relevant in the public Fortnite eye since the 2019 World Cup era, is one of, if not the best person to go in and speak for the majority of the Fortnite competitive player base. But despite all of his knowledge and all of his experience, he still made an effort to spend hours just sitting with his chat and a few other pros, coming up with plenty of great ideas that he could present to Tim and the team at Epic. He didn't have to, but he gave the player base a voice to basically speak directly to the boss. So what are some of the things that Clix and his comm came up with to present to Epic? And before you click off the video because you don't care about competitive, again, I wouldn't do that just yet, because there are many things that Clix brought up to them that actually do affect casual players as well. One of these is a very heated topic of discussion amongst the Fortnite community, and that of course is movement animations. I'm sure everyone remembers loading into Chapter 5 for the first time and being shocked by just how much they changed the fundamental movement speed and animations.
Wrap this shit up. Wrap this shit up. Why did they just change the entire game? Why did the entire game get changed? Why did the entire game get changed? Why am I moving like a Minecraft character?
I mean, aside from the addition of tack sprint, sliding, and mantling, the movement worked the same and looked the same for over 6 years up until that point. And then seemingly, at the drop of a hat, it was completely different. Now thankfully, within a few days of Chapter 5 being out, they fixed the movement speed and reverted it back to normal, but even to this day, nearly 2 years later, we still have the weird and clunky looking animations. Now I'll admit that I definitely have gotten more used to looking at them, or rather ignoring them for that matter, but still. This is something that the community has yet to give up on hopefully going back to, and I'm in the same crowd. At the very least, if Epic is so concerned with these animations staying in the game, just give us the option to toggle between the old movement animations and the current ones. Maybe this is too complicated to code into the game, but I don't know. I feel like the option of both would make everyone happy, and it would also help the OG heads to feel even better about OG as a whole. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about in terms of the animations, I'll throw up a comparison on screen of the Chapter 4 movement and the current movement side by side. Whenever playing fast and building and editing, there was a really nice pickaxe pullout animation that had cemented itself as a key part of Fortnite's animations. But today, everything is very smooth and less tactile feeling. Even the old sound effects complemented this too. But what else did Clix bring up to the devs on how to make the competitive scene better? I won't go super into detail on everything, but the main point about most of the things on that list he made had to do with making competitive Fortnite something that was more beginner friendly. Something more akin to the earlier days of Fortnite tournaments. This means easier qualifications to final rounds, larger prize pools so more people can earn, and just more tournaments overall so that way more people are interested in getting into competitive. Following Clix's conversation with the devs at Epic, he even hinted at this coming December being a quote, great effing time to be competing, which I and many others are interpreting to be the return of Winter Royale. This was a tournament series held in December that was focused on solos, huge prize pools, and completely open qualifiers, meaning that literally anyone had a shot to earn. It was and still is one of the most prominent times when the competitive and casual scenes merged and create for a very healthy and relevant game overall. If it does return next month, then we can expect a very large increase in player count in this game as a whole, which is detrimental right now. And whether you like it or not, comp is a huge part of this game, and one of the most active areas of it in the current day when the game isn't doing too hot by comparison to past years. So needless to say, when competitive is thriving, it has a huge impact on the success of the rest of the game modes also thriving, casual sides included. Speaking of casuals, I understand that a lot of you may be wondering, well, what about our side of the game? What about the weird and confusing storyline that seems to be all over the place? What about the lobbies being full of almost all bots? What about the overwhelming amount of different game modes coming out? What about cosmetic rarities still being removed? Or the super clunky and ugly locker UI? And listen, I hear you. All of these things are super valid, and I think have a very good chance of being addressed sooner than you might think. While no casual Fortnite content creators have publicly stated that they met with the devs of Epic to talk about the state of the game this past week, you have to understand that the foot is in the door now. By them flying Clix out to work on competitive, given that his suggestions and ideas are implemented and then perform well, we could very easily see people flown out to Epic again, but this time for the more casual side of things. So all the issues I mentioned earlier could be directly addressed by using the same creator feedback method. And guys, I don't know who else would be a better candidate as the casual Fortnite player's rep than good old Cypher PK. Easily one of, if not the most well-known Fortnite content creators on YouTube. And he has been an essential part of keeping Fortnite relevant online through all of its ups and downs for the better part of 8 years. In fact, while Cypher is on break from content for a few weeks at the moment, which the man totally deserves, the last video he uploaded actually contains his hopes for how to make Chapter 7 the best it can be for the players. And he touches on so many important issues that have needed to be addressed or reworked for years now. As far as we know, Cypher and Epic seem to be on really good terms, and because of everything I've laid out for you in this video, I think that Cypher being flown out to Epic to discuss how to improve Fortnite overall has an extremely high chance of happening. I'll link Cypher's latest video in the description so you guys can check it out for yourself because it's got a lot of good points and ideas. As of making this video, there is less than 30 days until we enter Chapter 7, and as each new chapter has come and gone, they always tend to feel like a great place for new beginnings. However, this time, we have Epic taking a completely different approach to how new things are implemented into the game. I think it's safe to say that Chapter 7 is nearly guaranteed to mark the beginning of a new era in Fortnite, where Epic finally wakes up and realizes that they have to keep Battle Royale healthy and at the forefront before dedicating their time elsewhere. I have a feeling it's going to be a wild ride for Fortnite. Fortnite in 2026. But until then, we'll just have to wait and see. Please subscribe so you don't miss my upcoming videos. Join my Discord to enter the V-Buck giveaways. Follow me on Twitch to catch me live. And please use code HarryCaberry in the Fortnite item shop. Appreciate y'all watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.